back then in our childhood, every small decision we were told to take it ourselves. We were helped sometimes, which developed that capability of taking decisions. Intuition is heavily dependent on a person who executes a lot.
I think that's what differentiates entrepreneurship from, say, someone who does a 9 to 5, right? A 9 to 5 basically has a method to what he has to achieve, but see, an entrepreneur really has to figure it out on the way.
It's good to interact with younger generations because you know what they are thinking and eventually they'll be your customers, right? I believe that if you want to learn an asset, you have to start investing in that. Then and only then you'll be serious enough to ask those curious questions, the answers to which will eventually be effective to take that decision. There are things to be done right now rather than keep it for later because you don't know what future holds.
Welcome to another exciting episode with Insights at Midas. We're really excited about this episode because we're going to have someone who's an entrepreneur, someone who's a philanthropist, and definitely a venture capitalist. He has many facets in his life, and it's an immense honor to have Pratik Kataria on our show today. I hope you enjoy this conversation today because it's going to be full of fun, full of understanding, and full of learnings. Please watch it to the end and subscribe to our channel. So, a very warm welcome to the Midas Insights, Pratik. It's a real honor to have you. More than honor, I think it's pride for me to have known you for probably 15 plus years. Seeing you from a student at Flame to actually now being here and interviewing you for a podcast after achieving so much. So one of the things that I was very excited to ask you about is you come from a family business, Pratik, and more than anything else, I would love to know how your childhood was.
Great. So first of all, thanks to you, thanks to Sir and Midas for inviting me here. Uh, my childhood, I was born with a golden spoon. Yeah, that is a good way to put this through. And fundamentally, my elder brother and I are really anchored to our family because my father held a good, you know, post, or he was looked up to in our community, which is the Bhanushali community, and we got to learn a lot from him. Initially, my mother, she instilled that discipline in us. I was a really naughty kid. And then once my education was done with, and then I entered our family business, it was hands down dad who, knew what exactly I am capable of. And he channelized my energies of having known my capabilities into something that you can see right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of watching your father, what was one thing that really, kept you inspired that this is what I want to pick up? See, as kids of family businesses, what we a lot of times do is observe and pick up, right? It's not like we're told that this is what you're supposed to do. We're just, most of the time thrown into the whole circle of business, and then you pick up a lot of things. So, what was that thing that you picked up from your father? What inspired you to sort of be a part of that business more and more?
I think back then I could see how he used to talk to people, which was very important. Very rarely has anyone seen him on camera or maybe a photo of him, but the way he used to speak to people of the maybe lower category or people who look up to him, he would devote a lot of his time for social work as well, even when the business was growing. So that is something that fundamentally helped me learn a lot from him. And obviously, he was a visionary. He was also a strong believer of listening to your intuition a lot. So we could actually see his business calls and decisions turn into reality, because that is how you learn. When I was sitting, I remember the first 2 months that I was there in my company, I was made to sit in front of him. There was a big conference, and all the legal documents he told his secretary, give it to Pratik, and I was scanning through all the documents. That was tough. That was really tough, because every hour I think I used to take a break, because it's so tedious, right? Cut to now, I feel that is what made me good in legal documents and reading the legal language in property dealings. So he knew exactly what was to be done, and that was his intuition. Even joining NAREDCO was his call, because I was too naive at that point in time where I could take a call. I had barely, so 4-5 years into the business, and joining an association where you have biggies like Niranjan Hiranani and Sandeep Runwal, and to be close to them was something that was, I think, intuitively decided by my father. So that is what I learned from him. And also, he's also a good micromanager. And sometimes I feel we can see, right, because I follow his footsteps, but now I have taken a step back, that this is something that was required back then, now it's not required. So you delegate more and keep, supervising.
Right. So let us talk about this whole aspect of intuition, right? So as business owners, I think one of the biggest things people say is, how do you grow on your intuit, right? Because so many of your decisions are from the heart. Of course, with experience, people back it with facts, figures, and all of that. But how does one really have that gut feeling internally is something that, have you actually figured that?
Kind of. Back then, in our childhood, every small decision we were told to take it ourselves. We were helped sometimes, which developed that capability of taking decisions and maybe executing it. So I think intuition is heavily dependent on a person who executes a lot. So you get a lot of intuitions once you see that you're taking decisions, and the confidence on your decision grows, because you know that all the decisions that you have taken, you can also have the ability to pivot. Right. And if you don't even take those decisions, you won't know whether you're going in the right way or no. Then you'd be questioning that in the future. Right. So I think that has also helped me. The dependency on intuition is something that enhanced.
Do you think also with intuition you begin to take or you have the ability to take risks, have the appetite to take risks?
I think those risks then gets converted into a calculated risk. When you know that 60% intuition is towards that thing, then you feel more confident of that thing working. Correct. So yeah, and if you're not intuitively strong enough, you wouldn't go ahead with it. So eventually you'll get to know that this is something that every entrepreneur has to heavily depend on, your intuition.
I think that's what differentiates entrepreneurship from, say, someone who does a 9 to 5, right? So a 9 to 5 basically has a method to what he has to achieve, but see, an entrepreneur really has to figure it out on the way, how to get there. So I think a very beautiful thing that brought out through this conversation. Whilst we were talking about your childhood, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, you were one of the first few batches at the Flame University, and I would love to understand how that experience of learning in a business school, of course, but backed with a lot of liberal education, how did that mindset really change the way you became as a person?
So, coming from the SSC board, it is quite obvious of how we deal with things, right? It's straight, direct, theoretical, right? Nothing practical. I think the most effective thing that could happen to me was Flame, right? Uh, and to top it up, entrepreneurship was something that I loved. Uh, Even before entering Flame, I was adamant that I want to have my family business and grow it. So you know the end result. And whenever you are in a classroom, a business classroom, or maybe a liberal education, backed by a liberal education, you know what are the factors that are going to enhance your entrepreneurial ability, right? And so Flame did that to me. And I think a major transformation in me came in when I was under Parag sir. I couldn't believe that I could do something, uh, whatever I have done, without the help of Parag sir, my mentor. Till date, I think he's one of the anchor after my family. After my family, he's the main anchor in my life who has helped me achieve what I've achieved. So Flame has given me a lot.
Of course. And Flame gave you your wife too.
Yes, it is, and
Would you like to also talk about, you know, that part of your life? Of course, you know, the relationship that you walked out with, and of course, more than anything, it's about figuring out the right person in your life also. How was that experience? Of course, Flame, you were naive and young, and you were all game to get married. But where is it today? I know you all are both business partners as well.
yes, so we had to have a business on campus, and we had Bottoms Up Cafe. I was one of the owners in that, and so I have to tell this in the second year, for about 6 to 8 months, I didn't know anything that was happening on the campus because we were so bogged down with assignments. And obviously, if you know Parag sir, you know what I'm telling. So you are just sticking to the overload of work that is coming in, which is really important. Now, when I look back, you understand that that was so important in your life. And I couldn't give time to even Prachiti. She was a friend back then, a very close friend. And once I think the load decreased, and then we interacted more, and that is where the transformation from a friendship to a partner happened. Yeah, so I think right now when you look back, it's great that I have Prachiti in my life because she knows me even better than what I know myself. So and you know that every night when you come back home, you know you need an anchor uh, where you can talk to her, and maybe she she will in fact share her true feedback with you, right? You have also known Prachiti, and she's really it feels like home when you go back. So all thanks to
So having a right partner is also extremely
very important, very important. That's the most critical thing I think in today's generation.
perfect. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was Sainath Developers, that is your family business, that has been a part of the industry for so many years and catered to more than 1,500 families. Uh, you know, is amazing, the contribution of your family. You know, what has been the difficulties in growing this business for you?
So the number one difficulty that I think all entrepreneurs face is when you come in as the promoter's son. It's so difficult for a person who is there in your company for the last 15-20 years to have them with you and grow with you, right? That was the massive difficulty I faced. Then I got to know that once you take decisions, and once those decisions are accepted and obviously talked about, right? Like pivoting to use technology. Right now, we are heavily inclined towards using Far Vision. That was a technology that helps real estate operations be smoother,
Yeah.
right? So that was a decision that Kunal, my elder brother, and I took, and it's doing wonders. So that is how we could have the backing of the seniors in our organization. And right now,
How do you make them adapt to these, new trends? And what is that new trend that you say you're introducing right now? Because a lot of students that even come to Midas, one of the things is they are trying to create their own identity within something that's already a very settled environment. So, one, what is that trend that probably is taking place in real estate that you're adopting to, and how are you getting people on board to be a part of it?
so I'll answer the second question first. I think introducing new members who are aligned with your thought process of being futuristic in terms of what you're going to do right now, implementing tech, or maybe decreasing the burden of doing the same monotonous work that tech can do, right? Yes. So that is also an advantage, that when you make someone senior understand that you can uh, increase your productivity and decrease the all the stress that you're going through right now with the help of tech, and when they do it, they acknowledge your presence. That this person is there to increase my productivity even though I am very senior and I cannot understand anything, be it operating a computer or maybe an app like reminders and everything.
So basically आपके अच्छे के लिए कर रहे हैं हम.
कर रहे हैं, yeah. So they don't realize until they do it, right? So I think that's a thing that helped me gain that confidence among the team members. And I think the future of real estate is amazing, because now you have all these fractional ownership and REIT and everything coming in, where it is also the acceptance of tech is not there in real estate, and that is exactly what we are looking for.
How can you explain that to us?
So when you look at property transactions, right, there is now blockchain technology attached to it, which people are configuring it, but they still the adaptation is not there. So I am a mentor to one of such startups, and also it's good to interact with younger generations, because you know what they are thinking, and eventually they'll be your customers, right? Sure. After 5-10 years. So when I start interacting with such individuals, you get a lot of ideas. You tend to invest in those ideas because you know that that's the future, and that is, I think, a massive advantage for me in Sainath Developers, that I have been given that independence from my board, that I can experiment in tech also. Sure. So that is what I think will make us stand apart from the other generic businesses that are going on since ages.
Got it. And in terms of real estate, do you see something that's very new that probably you should adapt or you've already adapted to? Something that probably none of us have heard of.
So yeah, in fact, in the West, I think REIT, which is real estate investment, there's a mechanism in SPV where you can invest in hospitals and even graveyards through REIT, which was quite alarming for me. And I think this is a concept which will click after 5-7 years in India. Maybe hospitals or something which is much more accepted rather than graveyards. So this is something that will eventually come up, even like nursing homes, or maybe fractional ownership is something which is very interesting. In fact, today in the morning,
if you could explain that to us.
Yes. So it is like, suppose you don't have a lot of savings, but you want to invest in property, right? So there would be a fund who would invest on your behalf and give you those units, the units to you. So you can, I think you can start investing in the minimum is, I think, 5 lakhs. So it's so achievable, right? I was having this conversation with Prachiti today itself in the morning. She's like, how can I, so she's the owner of cafe, of the Laughter Chapter Cafe, and she wanted to have a place of her own. So enough of rents and everything, because it's all organic. We do not have something for the cafe just because Prachiti is my wife or maybe a daughter-in-law of the business. So she had that aim of having a commercial establishment on her name, as in the Laughter Chapter Cafe. How can I start? So we were talking about fractional ownership. Even the younger generation right now who wanted to, who are thinking of investing in properties, this is a right way to enter and understand it.
Right. So with a bare minimum, say, investment, you can become a fractional owner of something.
Yeah, at least it will help you understand the market. At least you will read more about property and real estate.
Perfect. So moving on, there's one more thing that I wanted to ask you, that you're heavily involved with NAREDCO, and I would love to know how this role is influencing you in the industry as a person in general. If you could share some light on that.
So, NAREDCO, which is National Real Estate Development Council, I was one of the founding members that actually went to Delhi with my mentor in NAREDCO, Mr. Niranjan Hirandani and Rajan Bandilkar. These these two individuals played a major role in establishing NAREDCO. So back then I was really naive, that like I mentioned before, and in fact it worked to my advantage that I was there since day one, because the younger generation is always there to have your task cut out, and if there's some research to be done on a particular
So
topic.
you were a part of the youth wing as well.
Yes. So not until 2018-19, because back then I was working with the biggies, the mentors, and understanding how an association is structured and what is required from the developer's perspective to function in in an association.
Right.
Cut to when we had Mr. Neil Raheja as the president of NAREDCO Maharashtra. We ideated on having a youth wing, which is NextGen of NAREDCO, and it started with four of us, four friends, ideating, brainstorming, and implementing it in a 3 to 4 months horizon. And then now I think we are about 450 odd members and a good 40 committee of NextGen NAREDCO that is doing their work.
And the good part is you've got a lot of leadership actually becoming a part of it. So
Even I was given that independence. All the four of us were given that independence to, in fact, you know what happens is when the seniors go on to meet officials, right, in a two-way interaction, right? Usually the next gen isn't there, wasn't there back then. So we started joining them. In fact, that is where the independence and the sense of responsibility came in. That we are now a part of an association that can bring about a change in real estate and understand the perspective of the developers, and also being in the next gen opened this new horizon in our minds also, that we have to be an association that is involving everybody, the whole ecosystem, and not only keeping the power restricted to the people who run the association. So I think all the credit of my growth personally also goes to the founding members of NextGen and NAREDCO, because independence is critical right now. So NAREDCO played a very important role for my growth.
one of the things that very strongly in your profile comes out is that you've been an investor, right? And one thing that particularly I want to ask you, how did you get into this role of becoming an investor?
It's really interesting. Back then, I entered our family business, Sainath Developers, in 2012, and there were a lot of people on our balance sheet where we had given loans to. That was in fact, my headache to, ask them back your own money. So it was a good 2-3 years that I was struggling. There were failures, and my dad knew that he's getting bogged down by this, and there's no motivation now. So one fine day he confronted me that what's going on? Why are you worried? So there are no conversions. So there is no metric where I can see that I am growing. or else I'm doing a good job at least in my company. Then we had a straight conversation that I think we have to stop this and maybe have this term of asset allocation. Learn that and maybe explore new avenues of investing. So usually what happens is when someone has surplus money, they start investing in stocks and everything. Real estate is the last thing to add, right? For me, for us, our business main was real estate. So we had inventory of real estate rather than having it as an end use. So I had to think out of the box, and also all credit to I think Parag sir and Midas, because back then the Midas and Parag sir were the people who introduced me to the word startup. Right. Because I didn't know anything about it. I had invested in stocks, in commodities, which is gold and silver, and I was finding a different avenue to invest, and that is how startup investment interested me. It took a lot of interest in of my because I believe that if you want to learn an asset, you have to start investing in that. Then and only then you will be serious enough to ask those curious questions, which will the answers to which will eventually be effective to take that decision. So yeah, in 2019, without any hesitation, I think the board gave me a sum of money that yeah, you can invest this much. All thanks to my elder brother and dad, because this is the independence I'm talking about. Yeah. And I started to invest in startups, learning the nuances of the terminologies and everything. Cut to now that the portfolio is really strong, and in fact I have immense gratitude. God is kind that the company that we have invested in, many companies that we have invested in, are doing good.
Right.
So
and there are returns coming.
Yeah, plentiful. So
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to ask you is, what makes you invest in a startup? Like, what are the things that go through an investor's mind when you're actually investing?
So if I bring it down to a few pointers, I think the major one is the promoter.
The promoter.
Yeah. So if the promoter of the startup is a go-getter, right? He can with a lot of experience, if he can convert the problems into solutions, right? And also use the investors and their network. He's a good person to deal with, right? Ideas and products can change. Maybe they will pivot, but the person who is executing it has to be really strong. Second parameter is, I think, when you talk about what the future holds. For now, I think my vision right now is on startups who are helping semiconductors as a manufacturing the semiconductors, ancillaries and everything is something that I'm looking forward to right now. So promoter and scalability.
So let me put this across to you, that something that is very close to my heart is that you can't differentiate between a person and his business or the work he does. So who you are as a person will always reflect in your work, right? So I think you're pretty much saying that if you're a real go-getter, someone who's a hustler, who's action oriented, who's passionate, definitely, and someone who has a vision to go get it as well. Right. So you would invest in the person rather than the idea itself. It would be the person that you would want to invest in. Beautiful. And can you share one of the most exciting investments for you by far?
So I had invested in this defense startup in 2019 called Big Bang Boom. I still, when you look back and you look at the progress and the growth of that startup or your investment in it, you question, यार इतना अच्छा decision कैसे ले लिया मैंने, right? What was I thinking back then? Why did I put my money in this startup? And cut to now in 2019, like a year before, they backed a good order from the Indian Defense, the government initiatives and everything. So I think that's a brilliant learning for me as to what to look for in a startup if you have invested since 2019, and then we doubled down in 2023 and 24 as well.
Amazing, amazing. And how do you balance this whole real estate work that you're doing with Sainath? You're a part of NAREDCO, you're also an investor. How do you balance all of this happening?
So I have a brilliant team. They are someone that I can rely on, and also having an elder sibling who is also a mentor to you helps a lot, because uh, he is also a hustler, right? Between the both of us, he is one of those entrepreneurial ability. Obviously, I am there, but then he is far more better than me. I learn a lot from him. So we are actually 4 members of the board who know their own. The task is cut out, right? I know what I have to do, so I do not have to think about what's going on the site, because he handles execution. I handle sales and finance. So I think it's all about the team.
Right, so having the right people around you, you'll figure a way out to make time as well.
And also delegate the right person to at the right job makes your job easier.
So, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is trust important as an entrepreneur?
Very important. So I think I missed out one more critical point when you talk about an entrepreneur in terms of startups, right? Is the team. So if the promoter is of the mentality that I can do everything, then I don't think he'll see the growth, right? If you identify a person who is reliable enough and trust him for whatever he's doing, right, in the vertical of business, it will be very easy for you to have that growth in your startup, in your company also.
Yeah, I mean, if you're generically with a balanced trust in life, you're able to delegate to the right people.
Yes, yes.
And if you're able to probably choose the right people to do it, you'll end up being much sorted as a human being as
Agreed.
well. So,
Agreed.
theek hai, goof ups will keep happening, but I think more or less you're saying that if you had the right people around you, you'd be able to balance a lot of things in your life.
Yeah, and also the responsibility of those team members increase, right?
Absolutely.
They are also answerable for their calls. There are failures, but then that is learning as a collective team can grow. Is an amazing solution for growth.
Do you think that aspect of us as, say, business owners has changed dramatically in the past few years, where freedom probably plays the most crucial role for any employee that you have?
That was a struggle to even realize this, right, back then. And now when you know that this is maybe a success mantra, you delegate more. You hire people with the right attitude. So it makes your job.
I mean, if they're ready to take initiative, they're ready to fail as well, and they know that you're going to back them even if something goes wrong. I think freedom can make people work so much better. Even someone who is probably, working for you, even you have invested in, and they know that Pratik has my back. They have the freedom to take few decisions without keep on asking you. I think they'll be better winners as well.
100%. And that is, I think that is one of the learning that I got from my dad, because the independence was there, like I mentioned.
So, coming back to the laughter chapter, it's completing 7 years or has completed 7 years. It's amazing, right? So, I almost feel like it just started. But how has this journey been, and what's next for the laughter chapter?
An interesting journey that Prachiti and I took together. In fact, her contribution to this venture is much, much, much more than what I have, in fact, invested in. Back then, we were on the drawing board, experimenting a lot of stuff, and then we finally figured out that I think global cuisine to the teenagers of India back then was something that instilled the sense of passion in us. Obviously, food is something that everyone relates, but then Prachiti and I, whenever we used to go abroad, we would in fact make a menu out of it. Whatever we had right now, right, during our trips, what will be the Indianized version of that? And that is something that we had as our menu for the teenagers back then and the younger generation, younger population. And right now, I think I have taken a step back, concentrating on the real estate aspect of my business. And all thanks to Prachiti that the cafe is now on autopilot mode, and we are looking to venture out now.
Right. So is there some plan, or you want to
Yes,
just
there is plan. We are looking for good locations to open.
multiple outlets?
Yes.
Okay.
But we do not wish to have the franchisee part of the business in that, because then it takes away all the then standardization takes away all the
Originality of it. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree.
we are very slow and
Social media has played a major role for the laughter chapter, because I keep watching so many innovative reels that you all keep bringing about, because I think that's what the younger generation is connected to. So how has social media impacted you or the businesses that you are in? Do you think it's really a big sea change from how social media is operating today in businesses?
yes, definitely. I think this is something that we realized when we were talking to all the customers who are younger generations at the cafe, and Prachiti took an initiative that to maybe give an opportunity to the younger generation to handle the whole social media frenzy, right? That worked to our advantage. In fact, after experimenting in the Laughter Chapter Cafe, I happened to experiment in Sainath Developers also. And to my surprise, the results were amazing. I could sell a good amount of inventory at a lower cost, because the team was obviously nice. Our social media, the people who are handling are amazing. One thing I realized is that the demography of your customer uh, has to be identified thoroughly by the entrepreneur, not anyone else, which brings in brilliant results for the businesses.
Yeah, so if you have, I mean, you can have the right TG, but you can reach out to so many people, right? So if you were able to say touch base with 10 people a day, today you are able to touch base with 100 people. So I think social media in that way probably is one of the largest branding avenues today that every company or every entrepreneur is finding for themselves.
So in Sainath Developers, we in fact identified that we don't have a brand image per se. People knew Sainath, the trust was there, right? We could get sales, but then when you asked the biggies who Sainath Developers is, there was no face to the organization. And that change, I think all credit goes to the social media, because it made me realize that you have to be up there, right, amongst everyone. And that is right now the differentiating factor that I think all the real estate companies now are realizing, that we have to be there.
I wanted to, touch base on another part of your life, which is I know you love traveling. So talk about how travel has impacted your experiences as a person uh, and as an entrepreneur.
So I think I am a believer of there are things to be done right now rather than keep it for later, because you don't know what future holds. And that is the reason why I have trekked to the base of Everest, and then also I have done my the it was a pilgrimage more than a trek to Kailash Mansarovar, because you know there is always in a year a few days that I like to spend alone, because that restarts some conversation that you should have with yourself. and I take traveling as an opportunity to maybe be aloof, right? Think about what you have to do in the next 5-10 years, maybe pivot in your life, and it has helped me a lot.
So transformation is what you look at during travel.
Yes, yes. So if I were to go to a different country, I would look at trying different cuisines, or maybe looking at the architecture at the country I am visiting. Whereas if it's a pilgrimage like Kedarnath, then it's all about meditation and being with yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And what is your idea of having fun then?
On a weekly basis, I think meeting friends, and obviously I love playing PlayStation. That's something different that the people over here will love it, but then it's a stress buster for me. I am good at it, and I love it. And also, fun is driving down uh, with your favorite car, and then with your favorite music. So that is something that I really look forward to every time.
That's amazing. Something that I want to also ask you is, how have you dealt with your failures? I'm sure you've had your ups and downs. There have been moments when things didn't go the way you planned them.
Right.
So, what is your relationship with failure?
I think acceptance of failure is something that we were taught in our childhood. I'll give you an example. I didn't do well in my 11th standard. In fact, I didn't even clear it. So my 12th was private. So I remember having this conversation with my dad. I thought he'll lose it, and I'll I'll be summoned a lot. But then the conversation on the phone was that, okay, I didn't make it. In fact, my elder brother told my dad I didn't make it. So he told me, yeah, give it to him. So he's like, okay, there is always next time. This is the learning that you get. Please improve now. And that changed, that brought about a change in me. That if he's accepting my failure, it's good that I accept my failure, and it's important that I work towards it. Of converting that into something that you have to instill that confidence in you after a failure. It's always important to back yourself up. We usually back others, right? There's no one backing yourself. So I think you are your biggest motivator rather than anything.
Yeah, and if you believe in yourself, then anything is possible.
Yeah, you send in that manifestations and the call to the universe that, yeah.
Take care of this, boss. So yeah, absolutely. One of the quotes that you have, something that you hold very close to your heart is really teaching a girl child in India. And can you talk about it a little bit to us?
We as a family, we look forward to having confidence in all the family members. So that's the reason why my Bhabi she's a dermatologist. She has her own clinic. Prachiti has her own cafe. My mom has a boutique shop of her own. All thanks to my dad that this mindset was there. And one fine day when we are having dinner at our residence, and we happened to talk about businesses, right? And trust me, their perspective was something that hit me really hard, because I wasn't thinking on those lines that they were thinking on. There's some usual conversation that happened, and at that point in time, I think I realized and told myself that what if all the people around us, my mom is not highly educated. What if she was educated enough at that point in time? It would be totally different, the outlook, and obviously education holds a very critical role in one's development. So I think that is the main reason that I chose to have girl child education as one of my mottos in life.
That's beautiful. And I think if you're able to do that, you're actually changing families, because, women are the ones that actually hold a lot of things together.
Agreed.
So if they are educated, I'm sure multiple things can be taken care of as well. So beautiful.
eventually they'll also have the same amount of confidence in you also, right? And the conversation on the dining table changes, right?
They're not just talking sabji tadkari.
Exactly, yeah. They are talking 360-degree growth as a family also.
Well thought. So, what's next for Pratik Kataria? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I have had the opportunity to think about it in the last 2 months, because I heard something really important that changed the way I'm thinking right now. Mr. Ravi Dharamsi, in one of the podcast with Sonia Shenoy, I think, told if a company makes their top line, makes their bottom line as their top line, is something that will change the company. So I think I intend to achieve that in the next 5 to 7 to 10 years, which is difficult, which is challenging in fact, and that is the challenge that I'm going to take.
Wow. So, you want to look at the bottom line turning into your top line. Beautiful.
A top line turning into your bottom line. So maybe a 5 to 6x growth is something that we are looking for.
And you obviously, spoken about so many multiple facets, whether it was travel that gave you transformation, from, making sure that women are far more educated, to being a venture capitalist, to being a student, of course, of life in general. It was so much fun, just having this conversation with you. I usually end up having fun with you. This was like one deep, deep conversation. But before I end up, we're going to have a fun rapid fire with you, and then open it up for our students at Midas to ask you questions. So, are you ready for your rapid fire? All right. So, real estates or startups, what excites you more?
Startups venturing in real estate.
Okay, lovely. One word that describes you best.
Go-getter.
Favorite book that changed your perspective.
I think Mr. Green's Power. I think that's something that I am right now implementing in myself.
Beautiful. Mumbai street food or fine dining?
Street food, hands down.
Your biggest pet peeve.
I'm a bit of a person who is very finicky about time management. So yeah, if I'm made to wait, then this is something that annoys me.
The most adventurous thing you've ever done.
Oh, I had done skydiving when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And I want to go back to do it
again.
again and again. Yeah.
One travel destination still on your bucket list.
Oh, I think it's Africa. The south. Yeah.
A quote you live by.
Age-old quote: "Perseverance fails 99 times, but succeeds the 100th time."
What's your guilty pleasure?
It has to be food. It has to be food.
Coffee or chai?
Coffee.
One skill that you had, which you had.
Yeah, I think I would want to play the guitar.
The guitar.
Yeah.
The first thing you do in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I think I just get out of my bed and be grateful for the day.
Beautiful. One thing people don't know about you.
I played district level badminton back then, and yeah, that is something.
A startup industry you think has a huge potential.
I think manufacturing and ancillaries of semiconductors is something that is,
Picking up.
yeah,
Your biggest learning from investing in startups.
go with your gut.
Describe the laughter chapter in one word.
Exciting.
If you had to start a new business today, what would it be?
Anything in manufacturing, particularly also into something like a semiconductor base. And
Got it. One person, dead or alive, you'd love to go and have dinner with.
the flavor of the season is Elon Musk, I guess. But yeah, he's a visionary. At least getting something rubbing from him is something that I look forward to.
What makes you truly happy?
I think family.
Lovely. Can we have a round of applause for him?
Since you just told us right now that you invested in a defense startup, what is your take on the defense valuations in stock market right now after the corrections?
I think is after I think yesterday everything is at a good price to buy, and I think again the next week is going to be really volatile. So, but I think as a country, right, we are going towards something like a self-sustaining model in all terms of businesses, including defense. So I think it is good to start investing in vertical of defense.
So hello sir, I want to ask you about your cafe. जैसे कैफ़ेज़ में शेप का बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है कि दैट फूड की क्वालिटी मेंटेन करनी होती है और वो एक चीज़ होती है कि अगर शेफ चला गया बाद में तो नया शेफ आने के बाद वो फूड की क्वालिटी मेंटेन, तो उसके बारे में क्या लगता है आपको?
सो थैंकफुली मेरी वाइफ प्रचिति बहुत अच्छे से हैंडल कर रही है कैफ़े. हमारे यहाँ एट्रिशन इतना नहीं होता है, तो जो कैफ़े हमारे शेफ़ हमारे स्टार्ट से है हमारे साथ वही अब तक है. बट हम लोग वो चीज़ में भी माइंडफुल है कि सपोज़ अगर वो चला भी जाता है और वी माइट हैव अ न्यू कैफ़े, तो वी हैव स्टैंडर्डाइज रेसिपीज़ एंड मेजरमेंट्स. तो कभी भी ऐसा हुआ तो वी कैन हैव समवन maybe train him for a good 10 days and then we are up and running for the contingency.
Thank you.
Sir, what is one struggle in your business that you face that not many people know about?
So I think what's happening right now in real estate is there are a lot of listed entities who are coming in and focusing only on bettering their quarterly financial projections, right, which is hampering the market as we speak, because they are more inclined towards showing a rosy picture of growth, but then on the ground the picture is not that rosy.
So they're inflating their value.
Yes, and so if we want to, right now we are more into redevelopment in Mumbai. So what happens is the societies usually have a lot of greed in them. I'll be honest right now, a lot of greed in them. So there's this heavy competition that is going on in the developers right now, but then we know we don't have to exceed our limits, and so that is something that I look forward to.
But then how do you like differentiate between what might be an actual competitive threat or something that's just an inflated company?
So I think it's all about knowing your cost and your feasibilities, right? There is a lot of noise around, but then our company is fundamentally really strong. Our company is fundamentally really strong. We do not over leverage. That helps us in all kinds of environment. I think the confidence in the company will answer for.
So you've built that security and that
Yes.
safety net.
Yes.
So, hello, sir. I wanted to ask, like, you emphasized more about you're a go-getter or you wanted somebody who's a go-getter. So, I wanted to know a situation where it was very difficult and you was a go-getter. Like, can you tell something about yourself in particular situation?
So it's really technical, but through me I was summoned. NAREDCO, the association, was summoned to have a meeting with the AMC, Additional Municipal Commissioner, and at that point in time I knew the topic but not so much. I could have easily told my seniors that this is what we have summoned for, please let me know, please take it ahead. But then in fact I wanted to learn a lot about all of the matter that we had to be present about, and I in fact told my seniors that I'll be going for this meeting. If anyone else wants to join in, then please. So instead of asking their permission, and I learned a lot from that, because I got to meet the AMC and all the ecosystem of these bureaucrats.
So, you basically put yourself into that.
Yes, and so that is how I think I can build confidence in myself.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. So you have recently trekked to Mount Everest base camp. So what was like, how did you do the trek? Like, how did you get motivated to do such a challenging trek?
So, in fact, it was two years ago, but then I had to really prepare myself. A good 6 months of thorough discipline training, of understanding my body, of what the limitations are, and then going ahead, enjoying each day, and enjoying the, what, 9 to 5 is the time in a day that we used to trek every day for continuously 9 days. So I think there was enough motivation that I wanted to reach there, the goal, which helped me, yeah, reach there.
Hello, sir. Sir, you being an angel investor for a lot of startups, so what turned out to be the best investment for you till date?
Sorry.
So, being an angel investor for a lot of startups, so what turned out to be the best investment till date?
Okay. In terms of knowing my network, it was a DocuTech startup that I invested in, and in terms of returns, it's the defense startup that I invested in. Uh, Investing in startups also teach you a lot in terms of how the promoter is thinking, because every different business, the mindset changes, right? So there are some startups where I got to learn the nuances, and then implemented some of them in the real estate business as well.
सर जैसे हम हमारे में से किसी को इन्वेस्टर बनना है एंजल इन्वेस्टर तो उसके लिए क्या पाथवे होना चाहिए.
So I think आपको to start with, start investing at least, right? कैसे start करना है? Now there are mutual funds, there are ETFs going on, but खाली invest करके रखना नहीं है. You have to gain knowledge of it, right? जितना आप ज़्यादा सपोज एक म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट किया, तो और किधर, वो कहाँ इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है, वो क्यों इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है इन द कंपनी दैट ही इज़ इन्वेस्टिंग. सो ये सब अगर आप क्यूरोसिटी से पूछते हो ये सवाल, अभी तो क्या चैट जीपीटी आपको तुरंत आंसर मिल जाएगा, तो इट्स ईजियर फॉर यू टू स्टार्ट इन्वेस्टिंग एंड मे बी ग्रो योर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स.
बेस्ट हो तुम लोग. ये नहीं पूछ रहे हो अच्छा वीसी को हमारे में इन्वेस्ट करने में हम क्या करें, हमको बनने का है, हम क्या करें. गुड वन.
सर लिटिल बिट ऑफ ट्रैक, आपने अभी बोला कि एज अ स्ट्रेस बस्टर यू लाइक टू प्ले स्टेशन एंड ड्राइव योर फेवरेट कार. सो विच इज़ योर फेवरेट कार?
I like my own car that I have. It's a BMW 5. Right now also, even though I have a driver, I have driven down right now from Mumbai. So it's fun. It's fun, yeah.
I guessed it that it is BMW only, that's why.
गैस कैसे किया तूने?
उसको गाड़ी पसंद नहीं होती.
What you do, tell him. What is your
Sir, I'm going to make RC cars. My plan is to make RC cars, scaled RC cars.
Okay.
The way
Sorry, I don't know the concept.
remote control cars.
Okay.
Yeah, the car na I'll tell the scaled one, but the exact
Exact replica of the vehicle.
yes, the exact replica of the and that will work in the proportion only. Like the way you will accelerate, the car will go like that.
It's a crazy market.
And he's been creating with his own prototyping machine. He's created a few. Whilst you go, he'll show you a few pictures also. That's why I said BMW hoga.
It's a amazing car to drive.
Yes. M series is great.
What would you like your epitaph to say? What is the legacy you want to leave?
I think it should be girl child educationalist.
Very proud of you.
There are two incidents that I'm going to tell you. We were a batch of 72, right? His first lecture in the first year of our PG, and he walks in and good morning, kuch nahi. Aise, he picked up one person, come here, and he went and sat in his chair. पीछे ब्लैक बोर्ड है ना, उस पर लिखो आपने आज तक आपके मॉम डैड ने आप में क्या किधर किधर आपने खर्चा किया है मॉम डैड का. आई डोंट नो वेदर ही डन इट विथ यू. Oh wow. Each and all the 71 people were helping him add, अरे तू ये भूल गया, तू ये भूल गया, गाड़ी भूल गया, ये भूल गया. Suddenly sir is like, इसकी तो गर्लफ्रेंड भी रहेगी ना, उसका भी एक्सपेंस लिख दे. पूरा all of this got added, and there was a nerd in our batch. तो सर ने बोला इसका प्रेजेंट वैल्यू निकाल ये वो, and then the figure came up to about 4 crores. And सर ने भी वही ऐसे ही बंदे को पकड़ा, मतलब जब भी वो पकड़ा ना तभी हम लोग को समझ गया कि ये एकदम परफेक्ट कैंडिडेट को पकड़ा है. फिर सर ने एक स्टेटमेंट मारा and it changed my life. He's like, your parents have invested this much in you. If you, बहुत क्रूर वे में बोला था सर ने, मैं सभ्य वे में बोल रहा हूँ अभी. अगर वो नहीं किया रहता ना, they would be 3 crores richer. और उसका जो कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट है वो इतना होता था. That night I didn't sleep because I was calculating the investment my parents made in me. And that was something that flipped. Okay, boss, what are you doing with your life? Even though I was good in, tab tak I was good in studies, but then that is one such instance that changed me forever. And now I know every second kitna cost ho raha hai mera. So thank you for this. Matlab, this was a eye opener for me, honestly.
Bottoms up was the one that was near the Kund, no?
Kund, yes.
Near the Kund one.
And
Total joke tha.
But that was a real struggle.
Yeah, that's why I said udhar sab udta rehta tha, I remember.
And in fact, we were made to present, so this is an on-campus business that we had to buy from our seniors. But then not only that, पैसा नहीं बोलता है. It was a presentation that you do कि आप क्या करने वाले हो उसके साथ in front of sir. कि we had to present and then he would choose कि हाँ ठीक है ये लोग को दे दो. I remember, so ऐसा होता है ना, आपका suppose first day of business है, you are so happy, your team is so happy, and then you are celebrating. Suppose हाँ if अरे चलो जल्दी मतलब दे दो, first customer आया ये वो. So ऐसा आधा पौना घंटा निकला हमारा. And then sir came in after his classes, and then we were like very happy कि हाँ sir आ गए, अभी हम लोग sir को कुछ ना कुछ खिलाएंगे. And then he's like, give me your menu. So and everyone was like, Pratik तू ही आगे खड़ा रहे, पता नहीं sir, you are a student, you will handle him. जैसे ही menu लिया ना, it was a bit oily. He just threw it at my face. What is this? This is how you treat your customers. I was like, oh my God, ये तो अलग ही हो गया. And so that gave us a reality check. And the next day we had people outside his classroom के सर आएंगे तो बोलना. तो next day तो सब मेनू साफ करके रख दिया, सब अच्छे से clean करके रख दिया. And then he came in and then he's like, how's everything going? Good. What are your sales till now? And everyone's looking at each other. What? ये तो out of syllabus आ गया, ये क्या हो रहा है? And then so yeah, it's important, right? अभी तक आपने कितना किया है, क्या किया है? It has to be. So trust me, it was so nice to be a student and a mentee to sir.
So you had Joe's, you had Bottoms Up. No, there were Bottoms Up, Joe's, and one more was there.
Yeah.
The one that was near MPL.
Yes. I can't recollect the name.
And every year this cafe would get sold to the next batch. And they had to run it on campus and make money. But I think the maximum that I think stayed was Joe's.
Yeah.
And they made the most money. यार वो लोग महीने का 4-4.5 लाख का धंधा कर रहे थे.
Right. And in fact, their setup was also, I think, 1/3 of ours.
Yeah. And it was bang opposite my room. So I was only eating Maggie. Yeah, मेरे ऑफिस के बाहर ही था वो.
And many students had different companies, right? एक photocopying में था, एक travel business में था. So it widened the horizon of how you interact with people, know their problems and solutions, and then grow as an entrepreneur.
If you watched it till the end and you truly enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Through this entire conversation today with Pratik, I've realized that you can have so many multifaceted parts of your life. You can be an entrepreneur, you can be a venture capitalist, you can be a philanthropist, you can love traveling, you can go and be on the Mount Everest on the base camp, and yet again have so much to learn from life. The conversations with him were a lot of learnings, especially for people who are part of family businesses. I hope that you enjoyed our conversation and stay tuned for many such beautiful ones.